The Ink and Paint Club podcast is intended for mature audiences only, so don't tell your parents! Listener discretion is advised. You're listening to the Ink and Paint Club podcast, your weekly home for animation reviews and discussions.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Ink and Paint Club podcast.
Hello.
Yo.
Great job, guys.
Sorry, were you talking to us?
I'm just talking to, the universe in general. Anyway, yes, this is the Ink and Paint Club podcast, and I am your host, JD, and with me, as you've already heard, is my good best friend, Kyle.
Oh, you're talking to me.
Yes.
Hey, what's up, y'all?
Yes, and Dustin is also here.
Hey, what's up, y'all?
Yay. And everyone's...
Hey, you guys, who was that? who was I just there?
I don't know.
I was Dustin.
We love Dustin when he's here. It's always a good time with Dustin around.
Hello.
So anyway, so South Park just wrapped up its most recent season.
It sure did.
Season 21. Can you believe it? It's been on for 21 years, guys.
The words wrapped up are in very loose quotes.
Yeah.
I mean, in the sense that it ended.
Yeah.
The season is over for this year.
Boy, did it end.
I guess.
It sure was the last episode of the season, alright.
Well, so South Park Season 21 just wrapped up, and as you can tell by Kyle and Dustin's tepid responses to that, we have some feelings about it, and we decided we're going to take this opportunity to just go through the season episode by episode and to air our grievances, I guess.
Yeah.
Is that a good way to put it?
I mean, I didn't think it was all bad.
No.
There were definitely some good episodes, and even the ones I didn't care for that much, every episode I would say at least had a couple laughs in it.
Yeah.
It was watchable.
Yes, that's a good way of putting it.
Like, that's the thing about South Park these days. I'd say it's very hit and miss, but that's still a lot better than other long-running animated sitcoms.
Yeah, where it's like, at worst, it's mediocre.
Yeah. Like, at its best, I would say Simpsons and Family Guy are mediocre these days.
Yeah.
With South Park, you at least have the possibility of getting some really great episodes. With those shows, it's like you're lucky to get a good joke.
Yeah.
just a single joke.
Just a single good joke in the entire series, or season.
Right.
And then you're like, yeah, that episode was really good. It had the one joke.
Yeah. So yeah, let's get into it here.
Let's not.
Just a warning, I have not rewatched any of these episodes. So.
No, I haven't watched any of the episodes since they aired. So we're going back to September when this first episode aired.
I was going to, but then I woke up at 4 p.m. and then I thought, nah.
I mean, who could blame you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll just start with the first episode titled "White People Renovating Houses," and I just want to say straight up, I laughed so fucking hard when they said the episode of Randy's TV show. They literally just called it "White People Renovating Houses."
The thing about this episode, I remember not caring for it at the time, but then I think back to it and I think it was kind of funny.
Like,
it had some funny parts.
Like, the whole thing with, like, Cartman and, like, because this episode was, it was, like, partially commentary on, like, Alexa and Google Home and all that kind of stuff and how that's kind of taken over. And then the other half of it's about a big parody on, the house renovation
TV shows.
Yeah, and I love how Randy keeps trying to re-explain the exact same renovation he's making on every single house.
Well, they also...
What?
they also had a lot of stuff about the whole Tiki Torch bullshit too.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. The statue removal.
Yeah, the whole I guess anti-fascist movement that happened this year was kind of a big focus of that episode. But yeah, like that whole part where it's like they bring back the rednecks and their jobs are being stolen, so they basically get replaced with they replace the Alexas in everybody's homes. So I didn't get a whole lot of enjoyment out of that part, but like Randy is really hit or miss for me, but I think when this particular situation where he's just doing this stupid home renovation show where you never see a camera. Yeah. You don't know who's producing this supposed show.
Like,
but...
yeah, was this a show or was it just being like treated as a show? Was he just going around renovating houses?
Well, because
for fun?
He's talking to a camera, but anytime they cut away from him performing the show, you never see like a set or lights or a camera or a crew or anything. He's just in somebody's house.
I thought they make a joke about that too, or something. They're like, "Who are you talking to?"
I don't remember. But because it's like they do a whole intro to the show, and I love, I do love how Sharon, sorry,
her name is Sharon. JD, get it right.
How dare I have a momentary flub of one of your waifus?
Whoa!
You'll treat her with respect. It's fine. Just don't let it happen again. Okay?
Well, what I was saying is, I love how Sharon is very like almost indifferent towards this whole thing, and she actually takes it kind of seriously instead of trying to play it up.
It's funny because so there's a production blog for South Park. I forget what it's called. Let me look it up really fast. I think it's Trapped in oh god. I think it's called like Stuck in Fourth Grade.
Okay.
Yeah, stuckinfourthgrade.tumblr.com, and they post like storyboards, production art for it. Mm-hmm. And so they posted some storyboards for this episode, and in the storyboard, Sharon is way more into it.
Huh.
She's like all smiley and posing and stuff, and in the show, she's just kind of... she's not really into it as much.
Yeah, that's weird. How
I guess they decided Sharon going along with what Randy's doing seemed out of character.
Yeah, it does. Like, it seems almost kind of out of character still that she's going along with it at all, but it seems more in character that she's like kind of like very muted.
Yeah,
by
he's
comparison.
Like, okay, whatever. This is what Randy's doing now, I guess.
Kyle, what are your thoughts?
I didn't really think this episode was all this funny, but I did like the part where Cartman had the Alexas and Holmes and all this stuff talking to each other because he found them in an alley. That made me laugh.
Yeah, that was funny.
It's one of those things where I don't know how commonplace it is, because I know my dad has one, I know my grandma has one, but I don't know like how common is having an Alexa or a Google Home.
Yeah.
I
don't have one. I don't know anyone who has one.
I think it's starting to become more common. I mean, my Melanie's sister and her husband, they have two of them. They just bought a new one, actually. So I think it's becoming
now
more popular.
Interact. They needed to get another one because the first one was lonely.
Yeah, exactly. I honestly have no idea why they bought a second one. The old one is literally sitting right next to the new one, so it's like I don't know what the point of it having two of them, but whatever. And a lot of this like set because last season you got Cartman has a girlfriend now, and this kind of picks up where a lot of that left off last season. Where Cartman is very much like wants to have
he's not digging it as much as he used to.
Like he wants to have a girlfriend but hates having a girlfriend at the same time.
Yeah.
Just like me.
Aw.
Whoa. What a controversial statement.
Oh man. So that basically Cartman and Heidi's relationship is going to be like the one through line. Well, not the one, but the biggest through line through this entire season, because after last season where they did the Netflix thing where they had each episode bleed into the next one, these ones are a little more standalone, but they still kind of relate in a way.
Yeah, I think they realized that that season was... I think they said in the commentary it was really hard to make, and it was just a disaster up to through the end.
Well, yeah,
because like the last episode of the season was called "The End of Serialization as We Know It."
Yeah.
Right.
So even they were kind of like, okay, let's kind of go back to what South Park used to be.
Well, that's one.
But I'm fine with them continuing, like, bringing certain elements throughout the series.
That was one thing. Was remember they were talking about last season? They got really political, and I don't remember if it fucked up the game or the last season. I don't remember what it was about, but I know it created a bunch of problems, and they were talking about how they didn't want to get too political because you can just look on Facebook or the news or whatever what the president's doing. So they were just talking about that.
They were saying how they couldn't write anything funnier than what's actually happening.
Yeah, and then it seems like they took their own advice from the season and they just doubled down on the political bullshit, and that's kind of a reason why I didn't really like this season too much.
I mean,
I thought this season was better than last season, at least. Last season was a mess.
Yeah, last season was pretty bad.
This one was at least enjoyable, but this one, it started off with the tiki torch stuff. They really showed that, and then I'm guessing...
Yeah, we can move on to the next one, which was titled "Put It Down," and it was a commentary of the whole Trump getting into a Twitter war with Kim Jong-un, and basically Tweak spends the entire episode like in a panic attack over it.
Yeah.
So I said there's a few episodes of this season I really liked. I loved this episode. I thought this episode was hilarious.
I did enjoy, like, just in the beginning where Tweak just comes out with a piano, just starts banging on it and screaming about how we're all gonna die.
Like, I know it's getting in more into the political stuff this episode, but I thought it worked really well with Tweak's character and Garrison just posting more and more stuff on Twitter and just getting Tweak more and more freaked out.
Yeah.
I think the only thing I liked about this one was he was instigating by using Tweak's name, and that made me laugh.
Yeah.
He's like, Tweak says you guys are faggots or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Tweak just starts freaking out.
Well,
so...
Yeah. Well, the other half of this episode, and it kind of bothered me, just because, like, the joke went on for the entire episode, and I didn't really understand where they were going with it, is, like, Heidi is, like, threatening to, like, break up with Cartman finally, and Cartman basically keeps threatening the entire episode that if she does, he's gonna kill himself, and just, like, that's a thing for the entire episode, and is, like, I don't know how I felt about it.
It suits Cartman, though. He's definitely the type who would threaten to kill himself if it meant getting attention.
Yeah, I don't know. It's...
I get what you mean, though. But, there's also the distracted driving subplot.
Oh, right, because they keep...
that one ties into Cartman's story, since other students at the school were trying to raise awareness for distracted driving and kids killed by it. But Cartman thought it should be about him and him wanting to kill himself.
Yeah, this entire episode is just full of so much child murder. Just kids being run over by cars.
I liked when they were doing that with Caitlyn Jenner, because that was a thing in the news where Caitlyn Jenner ran someone over, and that was like a thing last season. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this one, a lot of people, it was almost like the same joke, but it was still funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I thought this episode was great. It had a lot of good jokes. The Tweak stuff, and the kids getting run over was gruesome, but I think the fact that it just got worse and worse as the episode went was kind of funny.
Right.
Well, it reminds me of where they were talking about memes, and it was the whole Taylor Swifting thing, but
Taylor Swift.
They were doing something on a train track, and they were just like, "Oh no!" And then the train just...
it was Faith Hilling.
Yeah, and the train just kept appearing at like random spots, and it was the same joke, but it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
But yeah.
This episode also continues a thread from a couple seasons ago where Tweek and Craig are now a couple.
Yeah, they show up a couple times this season, and yeah, they're just like totally a couple, and it's not a big deal anymore. That's just a thing now.
I don't really like it because it really is forced in their world, and it does feel kind of forced too.
I don't know. It's weird since, like, the episode a couple seasons ago, they were pretending to be a couple just for the sake of the town. But, I mean, they still do it even when it's just them by themselves, so...
Yeah. A little weird.
I kind of like it just because in a show like South Park, there's so much, what's the word I'm looking for? There's so much hatred between so many other characters that it's kind of nice to have, like, a actual caring relationship between two characters.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like, it just feels... It feels nice having characters that don't hate each other at this point.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it is kind of nice just to have a little bit of a change of pace for once.
Yeah, and then the big musical number was funny. I like how they had Kenny among the kids killed by distracted driving.
Yeah.
And that's like one of Kenny's only parts of the season.
Yeah, he doesn't really do anything. I mean, and also with that musical act, you know, Cartman's subplot kind of factors into it, where he like breaks into the song with like his own rap verses, about him wanting to kill himself, and I'm like,
I thought that was kind of funny, just because it's weird seeing Cartman rap so well.
I mean, it was funny, but it's just like I wasn't with that whole subplot to begin with, so like having him break in at the end, I'm like, all right, I get it.
I get you.
I get it already.
Well, how about we move on to the next episode?
Yeah, so the next episode was titled Holiday Special, and this was one of the like cultural references that I didn't get until like a couple weeks later when I finally saw a commercial for the thing that it was parodying. So this episode's kind of taking on that whole there's this service that's going around, and I think there's a couple different companies that'll do it now, but it's basically you can send a DNA sample into this company, and they'll tell you like, oh, you're a quarter, you know, such and such, and they'll tell you like your exact percentages of what ethnicities you are in your ancestral whatever. And I forget exactly why Randy wants this exactly.
It's because
he wanted to be oppressed as well.
Oh wait, that's right. Because it's all the other thing that it's making fun of is the whole taking down of
Columbus Day.
Right? Because it's using Columbus Day as an analogy for the whole wanting to take down Civil War statues and stuff, and basically retconning history like that.
And Randy used to wear Christopher Columbus costumes all the time.
Right.
He was always doing that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I did love the joke where Randy's just like, everyone was doing it back then, and it's like, just trying to convince everyone this was a thing that everyone did. It's like, this has never happened on the show, but alright, cool.
It's classic Randy.
Yeah. I do get some enjoyment out of Randy still.
Yeah, that's the thing about Randy. He's way, way overused, but he still gets some good laughs.
And I really want someone to point it out to the exact moment that Randy went from just being Stan's dad to being this off-the-wall, crazy character that they keep using. Because, like, early...
I think it was the baseball episode.
It was the Bat Dad... whatever.
Is that it?
Which was a great episode. That was a great episode, but that was kind of the start where they started pushing Randy more.
Yeah, and it's so weird because it's like when you watch old South Park, Randy's just like, he's a geologist and he goes to a job and he makes a comment to Stan every now and then, but it's like, he's not a big deal.
I wonder if he still has that job. I think they mentioned it not too long ago.
Yeah,
but I don't
I have
remember.
No idea. But yeah, so Randy's trying to like basically try to falsify that he has like Native American DNA in his ancestry, so he like gets DNA from a Native American person by making out with them a little bit, and then this Native American man falls in love with them and keeps showing up.
He keeps coming back.
He keeps trying to court Randy. And I did enjoy that, just because it keeps happening.
Yeah, that's fun. I remember this episode not really doing much for me when it aired, but thinking that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Well, it was like the big joke on that was about anal sex because they were saying they were going to take a butt swab, and he was really contemplating about doing it, and he was about
That's
to.
Right.
But they didn't have enough time.
Yeah, and it just got funnier because it's like every time, because Randy, like, he gets the DNA from him the first time, and then he has to keep coming. He keeps coming back, and Randy's like, "No, get out of here!" But then he keeps needing him for something else. He keeps leading him on.
This is an episode I might need to go back and rewatch.
Yeah,
like I said, I remember not caring for it when it aired, but
right. Yeah, this is one of the episodes where it's like I remember parts of it, but like on the whole, it's like
overall, it's kind of a forgettable episode.
Yeah, it's one that you'll watch and won't ever, think
not
about
an episode
again.
People will say. Yeah, it's not one people will say, "Oh, remember that episode of South Park?"
Right. So yeah.
How did you feel about it, Kyle?
It alright.
It not subtle or nuanced.
Yeah, I thought the things like that were pretty funny, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just whatever.
That's about right. So let's move on to the
franchise prequel.
Yeah, the basically the tie-in episode to the Fractured Butthole video game.
I swear like 15 minutes of this was leaked or something, like way before the season happened.
Well, the ending to it when they're talking about the franchise, that was the original trailer for the franchise.
Yeah, that's like the first 5 minutes of the game.
That's right.
So yeah, this episode leads right into the video game. Like the episode ends where the video game starts, to my understanding. And it basically has Cartman and his Coon and Friends group trying to get their franchise started.
Actually, it's kind of weird. I don't think that this starts right when the game does. Since
it's like really early in the game, I think.
Well, there's a part at the very beginning of the game where it takes place right after the Stick of Truth. Mm-hmm. Have you guys played Stick of Truth?
Yeah,
like very little of it.
Well, so at the beginning of Fractured Butthole, all the kids are still doing the fantasy game. Right. So, your character is still dressed up like, the Lord of the Rings costume and stuff. But, Cartman is dressed up as the Coon, and he wants to get reward money for a missing cat. So he dresses up as the Coon and drops in the game, and he's like, okay, we're playing this now.
Okay, I just want to say, I'm rereading the episode synopsis of this one just to refresh my memory, and I just now got Jimmy's superhero names joke.
Fast Pass?
Yeah, his name was Fast Pass, and I was like, okay, why is that his name? And I just now got it. Because the handicapped people get Fast Pass at the theme parks.
Yeah.
To go to the front of the line. I don't know why that took me so long. I'm sorry, everybody.
Fast joke, slow reaction.
I'm pretty slow on the uptake.
Damn.
He's one of the best in the game.
Yeah.
I heard what is it? The diabetes kid.
Scott Malkin's
there you go. Yeah.
He's Captain Diabetes.
I heard he's one of the best.
Yeah, he's really good too. Well, the thing about the game is I think they I know this is kind of getting off track from the episode, but I thought the game was way better than the whole season, so
I think that's probably where they put most of their effort into.
Yeah, that's why I'm willing to forgive them for the season not being that great, is because I thought the game was wonderful. It was better than Stick of Truth. It was really funny. It was really fun. It was a big improvement. But what I was going to say is I feel like all of the partners are pretty balanced in how useful they are. Like, some characters are strong, but some characters have better range.
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. And there's like 12 of them, so you take your pick.
I'm upset because I made a Donut Assault character named Call Girl, and she was phone based, and then they did it.
Oh, so much for that one. I'm sorry.
South Park and your well-written female characters. So half of this episode is, tying in, is basically acts as a tie-in to the video game, and the other half of this is tackling the
Mark Zuckerberg.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's tackling the whole Russia spreading false information over Facebook during the election last year.
Right.
Taking all that. And it turns out, and their take on it is that Butters in his Professor Chaos persona is spreading fake news about Coon and Friends on Facebook.
So I guess the whole Mark Zuckerberg thing that they were making fun of was an actual thing. I guess they released a video, and it sounded like it was like a cartoon or something, and it sounded horribly dubbed over. So that's what they were making fun of, I guess.
I was really confused by that, because I thought, because they have Mark Zuckerberg coming in, and he's just like this really big annoyance to the town. But yeah, the way he talks sounds like he's, someone's recording him off a phone or something.
Yeah.
And I didn't get the joke. I didn't know if that was actually Mark Zuckerberg that they had record over a conference call or something.
I took it as the whole everybody's calling him a robot meme thing. That's what I took it as, but I guess it was based on whatever stupid fucking video that was.
Huh.
I feel like I would enjoy the episode more if I saw that, if I got what it was they were going for, because I just remember watching it being like, I don't get why this is happening.
Yeah. That's been a whole joke now, is that he's a robot, and people go they'll post a picture of him and be like, I'm Mark Zuckerberg. I eat food like normal human beings and stuff like this.
I am a human Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah, that's what I took it as, but nope, not what it was.
Jesus.
Let's listen to our human music.
What I did like about this episode that made me laugh was the secret base of operations was at a Circuit City, and I used to work at one.
Yeah.
Those aren't a thing anymore.
Yeah, it made me laugh. And I did like how he was like, well, you're henchman number 76, and here's our benefits package. Just, that whole thing made me laugh about it.
I think anytime Butters is a main focus, it's a good time.
Yeah.
He's so pure.
Yeah. Butters is another one of those characters they really overuse, but he's still funny. I'd say he's still one of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of like what I was talking about with Tweak and Craig, is it's good to have something to help counteract the harsh negativeness of the show.
Right.
It's just nice having someone help counteract it a little bit.
Yeah.
Next one.
Yeah, so moving on to the next episode, and I can say with full confidence, I think this is, for me, the most forgettable episode of the season.
Really?
Yeah,
you'd say this one was the most forgettable one of the season?
Yeah,
I've seen so many people say it was the best one.
It didn't do anything for me. Hummels and Heroin, which is basically a big take on the opiates epidemic that's going on. And it's basically, there's a drug ring inside of the nursing home, and Stan's grandpa's involved with it. And
whoever has the most Hummels runs the nursing home.
The big bad bitch, or whatever they call it. And then
I didn't really like it because I didn't figure, just like the whole Zuckerberg thing, I didn't get it, so it was't really all that funny. To me.
I got it in the sense, because the whole episode opens up with a birthday performer overdosing on
Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah, which is weird.
See, those parts were funny.
See, the thing is, why would Chuck E. Cheese being performing outside of a Chuck E. Cheese restaurant? First off,
well, it was probably just some guy they hired.
Yeah, but I mean, I got what they were going off of, because obviously the opioids epidemic has been big in the news, and that's all these party performers just keep overdosing and dying at parties from opioids, but it just keeps happening. And then this kid,
it's funny how that kid gets out so into it.
Yeah, I do. That's the one part of the episode I did like, is this kid is basically becoming a junior detective and trying to like figure out how all these performers are dying, because he like has this undying love for Chuck E. Cheese.
I would not be upset if they brought this kid back. He's funny.
It was a whole parody on some sort of movie. Like the whole ending was
really?
a parody on a movie. I'd have to look it up though.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but it was.
I know they added a card of him to that new South Park iPhone game.
Nice.
I haven't touched that one, but the artwork for it is really cool.
Yeah, I love how everything's like super over drawn, and then it's like their style. It's always great.
Yeah.
But yeah, just the whole, I don't know. I feel like compared to everything else, and honestly, this whole season is kind of forgettable on the whole. But for me, I think this is the episode that did the least for me in terms of being entertained. I don't know.
See, I thought it was one of the best ones of the season. I thought it was really funny. But, it's also one I'd have to watch again. I only watched it the one time, but I remember thinking it was really funny at least.
Well,
and like, there's the whole part with Stan's grandpa. And so I feel like it's always great whenever they bring back characters they haven't used in a while.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've seen Grandpa. So,
are there any characters you guys would like to see come back?
Satan's son Damien, is that his name?
Oh yeah, he was. Oh, he was in Stick of Truth.
Was he?
I think at least he just has a mini cameo in Stick of Truth. He's in a movie theater. He says like, I've seen the evils of hell, and I've never seen anything worse than the one you call Rob Schneider.
Rob Schneider is the stapler.
I'd like them to bring back Jimbo and Ned. Jimbo shows up every now and then, but I don't remember the last time yet.
Yeah, they don't really do anything. They just kind of show up as background characters.
I think he was in White People Renovating Houses at the bar or something.
I don't think. No, I don't know. Cause I don't think he was in. I don't think he was in the nationalist group. I know he was in. He was in the last episode.
I felt like he was in the bar telling him to like let it go or something like that. Maybe.
In Fractured Butthole, Jimbo and Ned are a summon.
Oh yeah.
You pull out a ham radio, and they both say, "It's coming right for us," and then they shoot the enemies, and then Ned throws a grenade at him.
I love Jimbo and Ned.
Yeah, they used to use them all the time in like the first season, and not so much after that.
I want to rewatch Scuzzlebutt.
That's the thing. Those early South Park episodes I still think are really funny, but in a different way from newer South Park.
See, my whole thing with South Park is that in the early seasons, it could be really funny without having to rely on a cultural reference. It was just like a stupid story. Like, I still think, hands down, the funniest episode is the episode where they drunkenly reenact the Civil War across the South.
Marshmallow schnapps.
It's s'more schnapps.
S'more schnapps. Yeah. Early South Park was really good at that stupid kind of humor I like a lot.
Yeah.
Where the humor comes from how stupid everything is.
And I don't know when they made the turn to like, okay, we're going to be a completely like pop culture dependent story show, but I really wish they could just go back to like just these, silly independent stories, like not having to rely on something that's current.
Yeah, see, that's what's so weird is before the season started, Trey was saying he wanted to get back to episodes like Awesome-O.
Yeah, and
or like Christmas Critters.
Yeah, and that would be great.
We didn't really get that.
Cause, and I think Kyle and I might have said it, because we did a South Park episode last year, maybe about last season, honestly. But basically, I think that the problem with modern day South Park is that because it relies so heavily on pop culture references and like being so current, that it makes rewatching episodes kind of weird because it's like you watch a South Park episode from like maybe 2 or 3 seasons ago, you're going to be like, oh yeah, I remember when that was a thing, but it's not relevant anymore.
I was thinking...
yeah, but that's kind of fun, too. It's kind of like a nice little time capsule for what was going on.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it at work the other day, but it's like, Whale Wars isn't a thing anymore, is it? Or like, Caesar being the dog whisperer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's stuff like that where it's like, oh shit, like, that's really old and out there.
Yeah, it's like, it's these things that were so big and important at the time, but now are like and barely anyone remembers what it is anymore.
Like Grand Theft Auto, Chinatown Wars. Cartman really wanted that game.
Remember when Cartman froze himself to get the Nintendo Wii?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
So the next one...
Yeah, so Sons of Witches is the next episode, and it's the Halloween episode for this year. And this is kind of where, like, I've not been really on board with Cartman and Heidi's relationship as a plot point. Like, it's been interesting watching Cartman.
When it first started and he was a changed person, it was interesting where it was going.
Yeah.
And then when this season first started up, like, as soon as she's there, he automatically hates her. But I think that was because of the whole Mars thing. But that's when it starts changing, and it was, like, weird to see.
But this...
Yeah, like...
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I don't mind it, but I feel like that period in their relationship went on a little too long, to the point where it got a little boring. Was, okay, Cartman's not into this as much as he used to be. And then it was just a few episodes of that.
Right.
Yeah.
But this episode for this season is really where it really started to get on my nerves, where Cartman is like... Cartman legitimately tries to have her killed to get out of having to be with her anymore.
This whole season I was thinking... Like, every episode I was like, this is the one where she's gonna die. They have to get rid of her somehow.
Can't we all relate, though?
I guess. But... I don't know, man.
JD had messaged me about the beginning with the pumpkin patch part. And he's like, is this how you feel? And I'm like, you don't even fucking know. It was just like the most relatable bullshit.
I'll totally give it to that. The whole part where Cartman is like waiting for her to get ready, and just like they're like an hour and a half late to get into the pumpkin patch because she had to do all this stuff, and it's like,
that's my
I think
fucking life.
any person in a relationship can relate to that.
Yes.
And I just love his reactions. Like, he's just trying to hurry her along, and just like every little thing that happens.
Yeah, he just does not care.
It's like, okay, she has to go back and get her coat. Okay, now they have to stop and take a picture, and now they have to do all this and that. It's like, oh god, just get on with it. So I did enjoy that, but
this was all about the whole fucking... I think this happened right when the Harvey Weinstein thing happened. So this was like... Because everybody seemed to be going on a witch hunt for everybody. And that's kind of what they're making fun of.
And I love through the entire episode they never actually say witch hunt.
Yeah.
I did think them all dressing up as witches was funny.
Yeah, so this episode kind of revolves around the dads of the town. I guess every Halloween they go up to this mountain and get really shit faced on like alcohol and hair.
It was Jack and Crack Week.
Yeah, Jack and Crack Week. So they drink
like...
Jack Daniels and smoke crack.
I like how Randy goes in the car. He's like, "What's up, witches?" That made me laugh.
Yeah. So they go up and do this, their annual witches Jack and Crack thing. And one of the guys brings an actual like spell book and morphs him into a witch, and he starts terrorizing the town and stealing children.
This just like Dustin said for the last one, it felt like the most South Park thing.
Yeah. Like, I like this one because, like, for the cultural stuff it was hitting on, it wasn't, like, immediately obvious, and it just kind of felt like, this is just a dumb story we're going to tell.
You could watch it without any context, and it's a good standalone episode. I like this one a lot.
Yeah.
See, I feel like we're kind of flipped on this one. I didn't care for this one that much. I didn't hate it, but it just didn't do too much for me. And like, I really thought it could. I thought it had potential to be a really fun episode, but I don't know. It wasn't as funny as I would have liked it to be. It had some funny parts, but overall I thought it was kind of boring. Maybe I need to watch it again.
Was it because it was based more on the parents than the actual kids, or? Because I still thought they were funny, just, I don't know, something about it. When the episode ended, I was like, that could have been better. I think because they usually have such great Halloween episodes.
Yeah, I mean, I think in terms of all the Halloween episodes, I don't know if this is high up on the list. But I think just the dumb kind of plot that they were going with. And I do love I loved how, like, after the whole witch thing happens, I mean, they're supposed to go up and do this, jack and crack thing for a straight week. I just like the day after, or they're still going to go back up the hill and do it again, even though one of their own is, like, turned into a witch and just, stealing children.
Yeah.
And even Sharon gets all pissed off about it. Is like, did you not see the witch flying around town setting fire to shit?
One thing I thought was both funny and kind of lame at the same time was how they resolved the episode. How Garrison came to town and just had him annihilated.
Yeah.
Like, on one hand, I was kind of like, oh, well, that's kind of a lame, really fast ending, because they only had, like, a minute to do it, but it was funny.
Yeah, it did seem really abrupt that, by the way, Garrison has just a space laser.
I think that's, like, a theme for this whole season. It's like, they know how to write interesting stuff, but they don't know how to put a good payoff at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I definitely agree.
Yeah, and
that sums up the season as a whole.
It's like, with this, they're, like, friends with the Garrison, and then in a couple episodes, they're like, fuck this guy.
Yeah.
And I don't... It makes
really
no sense to me.
Yeah, it's inconsistent.
Well, remember, he was part of their witch crew.
Yeah. And then they hated them later.
Yeah.
Well, because it wasn't Halloween anymore. They had no reason to like him.
Yeah, that's true. He had a picture of them from, like, the 80s or something. They all had different hair and they were all dressed like the switches. That's great.
Yeah, see, it's so weird because when you guys talk about it, I remember it being funny. Maybe I'll just have to watch it again. Maybe I'll do that after this. Then we'll see who's laughing.
Yeah.
The next one.
Yeah, so moving on to Doubling Down. Yeah, this episode. So
do you not care for this one?
It's not that I don't care for it. It's just like it's playing on to all the stuff I don't like about, because it is dealing with Cartman and Heidi's relationship, and Kyle gets mixed into this. Not our Kyle on the show Kyle.
Oh, I'm glad you clarified.
So basically, this episode deals around with, like, Heidi trying to get Cartman to go vegan, and he convinces her that, like, all of this, like, brand name fast food place, it's all vegan now.
Yeah, he tricks her into thinking it's like what does he call it?
There's a word for it, but I don't remember.
Oh, it's Beyond. It's always Beyond something. So it's Beyond KFC.
Beyond KFC.
And Beyond Arby's. But he literally just writes Beyond on the packaging from the fast food places. Yeah, exactly. It's not even convincing.
Well, they're stupid kids. She's not gonna know.
But the whole twist in this episode is that Kyle which kind of carries on to another episode later on, where Kyle decides he is kind of tired of people just accepting that this is how things are, and is trying to, like, he like recognizes that Cartman is bad for Heidi and is, like, ruining her. And
but then he also
just out of nowhere he's like, by the way, Kyle likes Heidi, and it's like, okay, was that ever hinted at before, or no? Okay.
Well, I think this episode was him kind of realizing it.
I guess, but it's like I don't remember them like having any kind of interaction before. It just seemed kind of out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I think this episode was pretty forgettable, but there was like a Fantasia Dumbo sequence thing.
Yeah,
and that was
that
pretty
part
cool
was
to
good.
see. But
they referenced Cats Don't Dance.
They sure did.
What an obscure thing to reference.
Yeah, but basically my whole problem with this episode is Kyle is my problem with this episode because he's basically white knighting himself into...
Yeah, you always have a problem with Kyle, don't you?
Not you, Kyle. You're beautiful and a perfect human being.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But I just like hate that Kyle in this episode has a white knight syndrome where he's like, I have to save her so that she'll be with me. Like
well,
who
else was going to?
I guess it's just like
that's true. I mean, it's not like anyone else was doing anything for Heidi.
I just wish there was a
Kyle was doing it for like the wrong reason, but at least he was doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's that wrong reason is what bugs me. Is like he's trying to get them broken apart, not for Heidi's sake, but for his own like ulterior motives. And I don't know, it rubs me the wrong way.
Here's a question. Here's a question for you. Would it bother you more if she stays with Cartman or if she had gotten together with Kyle?
See, by the end of the season, she kind of comes to her own realization and leaves him anyway.
Whoa, spoilers! We're not there yet!
So honestly, like, I would rather... Because, like, the whole... Well, I guess it does kind of relate later on.
Well, wrapping into that, it was kind of by chance that even happened, because they touched on a bunch of stuff in the woods.
Yeah.
That could have never happened.
Right. So yeah, I just don't like the whole Kyle deciding he likes Heidi all of a sudden, and then he's like, oh, well, I gotta break them up so she'll be with me, kind of deal. And by the end of the episode, aren't Cartman and Heidi back together anyway?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Cartman convinces her about Kyle being a sneaky Jew.
Yeah, so like in the end, like you're basically
Cartman's
you're back
influence.
where you started.
Yeah.
Well, not really, because he made her just as racist as him. Like,
Well,
she was starting to fall into him.
Yeah, this is the episode that started Cartman's influence kind of rubbing off on her.
Yeah, she basically becomes girl Cartman.
See, so here, I didn't think this episode was that funny, but I was interested in seeing where it was going.
Yeah.
I guess that's fair.
Like, the whole time watching it, I wanted to see where it was going to lead up to. I wanted to see what was going to happen to these characters. And I guess I'll remember next season to not do that. To not care what happens to them, because it most likely won't be resolved.
Yeah. So yeah, you basically start to see Heidi's transformation really kind of take a nosedive here into bad territory, but the next episode kind of gets a little bit of a reprieve from it, a little bit, not really.
So, with this one, I am kind of tired of them doing the same joke with, I don't want to say the retard kids, but the special kids.
Yeah, so
I'm tired of the Looney Tunes joke, because that's all those characters exist for.
Yeah, so Nathan and Mimsy, I guess, but...
They're funny. I like Nathan and Mimsy.
They're funny, but that's like their shtick. That's all it is to their characters.
They are kind of one note.
I'd say it would bother me more if they used them more often.
Yeah.
Like, if they were on the same level as, like, you know, Butters and Cartman, or even if they use them as much as, like, Jimmy. But, I mean, they only use them, like, every once in a blue moon, so I'm fine with it.
They're newish, but they're getting to the point of being like Sideshow Bob, where it's like every season, if they have something like that, where Sideshow Bob, you're like, oh, fuck this character. I hope that's what doesn't happen to them, at least. Right.
They're Jimmy's nemesis.
Which I do love Jimmy and Timmy, so, I mean, any episode that kind of revolves around them is kind of fun.
Yeah.
But basically, this episode is taking a stab at the NFL, and
they've been doing that a lot lately.
They have. South Park really hates the NFL, I guess. But it's kind of it really delves into like a South Park's absurdist way of poking fun at someone, because obviously some NFL people, and I think even Trump makes a joke or made a jab on Twitter about how the NFL is like losing fans and it's losing revenue. So for whatever reason, the NFL is investing money into researching how to get water bears to be fans of the NFL.
Yeah, that was Timmy and Jimmy's science fair project.
Yeah, they were trying to like study water bears, which are these tiny little microorganisms. So it's a very strange, like, I would have never thought of all the ways they could have parodied that, like, that's the direction they would have went in.
Well, they were saying it's because they're so small that they're like, we have 15 billion fans, and it's just because they're like little small creatures.
Right.
So that was their idea.
So I mean,
that is funny.
I mean, I really did enjoy, like, just it's so off the wall, like, why of all things was it this?
Okay,
really
it's because they have Tard in their name.
Tardigrade.
Yeah,
yes.
tardigrade.
I get
That's the only reason why they had it, and that's hilarious. I just figured that out now.
Jesus. But yeah, I mean, I did enjoy the whole back and forth where, like, you know, Jimmy and Timmy are, you know, trying to teach tardigrade water bears to do stuff, and then, you know, Nathan and Mimsy are jealous, so they fuck with them overnight, and it makes them, like, even more intelligent.
But they make them, yeah.
Makes them more intelligent.
So this is where stuff started happening in the season, and people were speculating a bunch of stuff, and then that's kind of where nothing happened from it.
Right.
'Cause it's like they make these things smart, and even though it was like on a really dumb level, because they were just football fans, they were putting on merchandise and stuff.
Right.
But when Heidi does her whole thing and eats them, people are like, "Ooh, what's gonna happen?"
She drinks them.
Yeah, well, same.
There's a difference.
Same thing. She ingests them.
There you go.
So that's better.
But people are like, "Ooh, what's gonna happen with this?"
And
then
nothing happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, let's talk about that. Let's talk about Heidi and Cartman's whole thing.
Yeah. So this is more Heidi stuff, and Heidi's.
Don't sound too excited.
I can't remember, like, I did like I think Mr. Mackey said it, that this is like where Heidi goes full Cartman basically. And she I like how Mackey's like, she's just like Cartman but with more follow through. Which,
yeah, except that didn't really go anywhere too.
Yeah, exactly.
She didn't follow through on anything.
Right, exactly. So yeah, Heidi's basically full Cartman now. She is girl Cartman now. For better or worse, I guess.
Well, I don't think there's any better in that
No.
situation.
Well, that's the thing. It was when this happened, it was great because he had.
It was at least making things more interesting.
Yeah, because it was like he finally has someone acting like him, and it puts him in a place where he's confused and doesn't know what to do. It had a good dynamic to it, but nothing ever happens from it.
Yeah. I thought it was cool to have someone kind of
Put him in his place.
I don't know.
In a sense.
Yeah, exactly. Like someone who could match up to Cartman's level of assholeness.
It throws him off guard on a lot of things, and I really like that.
It could have been really interesting.
Yeah.
But nothing.
But it wasn't.
Nothing happens from her. I don't even remember why she got jealous. I guess that's a problem. You watch something, you don't even remember it.
Exactly.
How good it was.
We should have prepared for this episode.
Yeah. Wikipedia has one fucking sentence, and it's like, oh yeah, I remember that sentence.
I mean, I'm reading the wiki. It's got plot point by point of the plot, but you know.
Oh.
Anyway, I mean, I totally remember what happened.
Yeah, I remember the episode.
Yeah, it's just I need a refresher on a few points, but
I remember thinking this was a good episode, though. When I watched it, I remember thinking it was fun.
I like the whole parts with Jimmy and Timmy. I like their parts, but the stuff that focus on Cartman and Heidi, like I just stopped caring about that pretty early in the season.
Getcha. I do agree with Kyle. They had a good dynamic, kind of challenging Cartman a little bit.
Right.
I don't remember if it was the last episode or not, where they're just beating the shit out of each other, and he's like, "Just listen to me, sweetie."
Oh, it's the next episode,
Okay.
I think.
Like that's funny. I thought that was great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of the next episode, super hard PCness. Oh my god. Is that the joke?
It sure is.
Jesus. So I just want to start this one off by I want to ask you what you guys feel about old Terrence and Phillip.
I did not. It doesn't make any sense.
Why are they old?
Why are they old all of a sudden?
We were watching that and it was Melanie's first question. She kept asking through the entire episode, why are they old now?
They were young like 2 seasons ago.
I know, right?
I guess they're making fun where a lot of old comedians and stuff are going through Netflix to have a show or something.
Yeah.
I guess that was the joke, but
I get the joke, but it doesn't really work
it doesn't.
for the show. Especially when they're trying to have more continuity throughout the series. It doesn't really make sense having them just randomly be old.
Yeah.
They'll be young again.
I mean, they were funny, but especially since Matt and Trey have said how much they love using Terrence and Phillip, it seems kind of weird to pigeonhole them into a situation like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to just say my favorite part of this episode is all the references to the movie that they kept making.
What movie?
To the South Park movie.
Yeah.
Because like the whole
Yeah.
Kyle's basically has decided that Terrence and Phillip is offensive because he feels bad for the people being farted on now, and his whole I know
It's just funny to hear. Like, I already knew that's what happened in the episode, but just hearing it said,
but so
ridiculous.
But a lot of Kyle's vendetta against Terrence and Phillip in Canada in general is almost, in some cases, almost line for line what happens in the South Park movie.
Yeah, he's becoming his mom.
Yeah, and
they're making fun of him and shit. It wasn't like Sheila got made fun of or anything in the movie.
No, I just like the whole thing.
Far.
I just thought it was funny where Kyle's having an argument on TV with the Canadian minister, and it's almost the exact same fight his mom had with the same person.
Can I finish?
I can't finish.
Okay.
So I just like
it's one of those things that's it's kind of nostalgia baiting, kind of doing the same jokes, but it was funny.
It's just wow, like the South Park movie was so long ago. Like, just to make a callback to that was kind of fun.
Yeah, it's weird. Terrence says he didn't think he'd live long enough to see this happen again.
Exactly.
But so how does that make sense? It's not like the kids are that much older.
Yeah,
exactly.
From when it happened.
That's the joke.
For me, this episode had a lot of problems, just like the last one, where things are introduced and nothing happens with it.
Yeah, I think the thing about these episodes is they're only worse in retrospect after the season's over.
Yeah.
When this episode aired, I thought it was great. I was interested in what was going to happen.
It aired on my birthday.
Aww.
Happy late birthday.
Thank you.
I remember I didn't get to tell you happy birthday on your birthday because my internet was out for a few days.
I remembered that happened.
That sucked. Anyway, oh yeah, I didn't get to see this episode until the next day because my internet was out. Anyway.
It bothered me because they introduced Mr. Mackey had a girlfriend, and I loved that.
Oh yeah.
It was amazing. It was.
And it's never brought up again.
Huh? Yeah.
I hope they keep these characters around because they are funny.
I really liked Misconduct, and then she wasn't in the last episode, and I was like, well, what the fuck was the point of even having her in the first place?
Well, it's better than killing her off, at least.
Yeah, that's true.
But the big character introduction for this episode was Vice Principal Strong Woman.
Yeah.
It's like, wow. I mean, I thought it was really funny, but at the same time, it's like, wow, this is a really obvious joke.
The thing is, I didn't think she was funny, but I think her introduction had made PC Principal have some good funny moments.
Yeah. And I do love PC Principal as a character. Just, I don't know.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about him at first, but now that he's been around for a while, I fucking love him. He's really funny.
And it's nice that they can still find like new things to do with him. He's kind of a one-note character in a way, so giving him more things to do and kind of flesh him out a little bit is kind of nice. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, in the game, in Fractured Butthole, he has a role where he teaches your character about microaggressions. How, if a character you're fighting says something questionable, then it'll say, microaggression! You can press A really fast, and if you do, then you get a free hit against them.
That's amazing. So yeah, I love PC Principal basically going through this, where he's like, Strong Woman comes in and kind of gives him shit for, going over her head on things. Because she's a strong woman. She doesn't need no man. But I liked him like trying to deal with like, oh, he's actually has feelings for this woman. Is like, you can't do that in the workplace. You
can't have feelings for a coworker, not in this day and age.
I just love Mr. Mackey's freak out over that. Like, he just gets real serious real quick.
I like how they're just like, does anybody hear Hootie and the Blowfish right now? Stuff like that. That was pretty great.
Yeah, see, this was a funny episode. This was a good episode with a lot of good build-up. It just... the payoff for it isn't very good.
And then there's a part where they basically start playing the music to Man in the Mirror by Michael Jackson, but never actually sing the song. Well, Kyle decides he's gonna shave his head a bit and take off his Terrence and Phillips shirt.
I love the end of the episode where both he and Strong Woman are having the conundrum over who should open the door for who.
Right. Because it's like he doesn't want to like hold the door open for her, like because she could totally do it.
He wants to hold it open for her, but he doesn't want to perpetuate gender stereotypes. One of us has to open the door, or we could die out here.
Yeah, and then you don't ever see the resolution of that. But and so Kyle is basically taking up the other half of this episode, trying to get Terrence and Phillip taken off the air. And this is tying into, his kind of white knight syndrome from the last episode, is that while he's on the phone with Garrison, and like Garrison's like, why the fuck are you even doing this? And he just gives off this speech, is like, I want to live in the world where people aren't farted on, and like his last reasoning is that he doesn't want to live in
where a girl he likes
he goes out with Eric Cartman instead. And it's just like, oh, that's what this is about. You're like, Jesus Christ, Kyle.
I kind of like thinking about it now, I kind of like what they're doing with Kyle, just because, like, throughout the rest of the series, he is kind of meant to be, like, the straight man, the guy who does the right thing, while Cartman does the shitty thing. And I think this is kind of interesting, how it gives Kyle more flaws, I guess. It doesn't paint him as the guy who's perfect and right and smart about it.
I mean, out of all the main four kids, if anyone was going to be a fedora nice guy, I guess Kyle would have to be the one to be it.
I feel like Stan and Kyle are so fucking close together. Like, they just act the same, almost.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think it's been that way for a long time, though. Kyle's always been the one who's more
outspoken.
Outspoken, yeah. He's the one trying to stick up for what's right. Stan is kind of more mellow about things.
Yeah.
I feel like Stan's kind of the everyman.
Yeah, Stan is very much the everyman kid.
Where, like, he's a good kid, like, he does what's right, but he's also... I don't know, he's... what are the words I'm looking for here?
He's the SJW of the series.
Yeah, he is.
Who's Stan?
He is.
No, Kyle.
Kyle is the social justice warrior.
Kyle's the one trying to stick up for what's right. Stan's more mellow about things. But I feel like Stan's in a good place where he can be in the right, he can be in the wrong. They can play up where his morals are a little more.
Right.
And I kind of wish they would do that a little more. Stan hasn't had an episode to himself in a long time.
He had the old folks home episode, but that's
never mind.
Really
we just had an episode.
But that's really all he has to do the whole season. Like, I don't think he's
I feel like that episode was more about Grandpa Marsh, and Stan was more an accessory to that rather than the episode being about Stan.
Right, but I mean, in any other episode, as far as I can remember, like, he barely has any lines.
I think the last episode where he played a big role was was it the bathroom one, the sissy episode?
I don't remember, honestly.
That's the last one I remember him having a big role, but I'm probably forgetting.
There was the anti-bullying episode.
Oh, but that was ages ago.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago. That was a good episode, though.
So then the last one happens.
Okay, so
Canada gets nuked.
Yeah, so Canada.
Oh yeah, so Canada gets nuked in this episode.
Yeah, so Splatty Tomato, the final episode of this season, is where I honestly feel like they went real lazy because they basically outright told you what the reference that they were making this week. Because it's like,
hey, you guys, isn't this like that movie It or Stranger Things?
It's like I also saw both of those things. I know they.
I thought that was kind of funny though. I like how Randy shows up on a bike and says it
immediately falls over.
Like, it is kind of lazy, but it's funny how they did it.
It's very exposition.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. I feel like had they just done it, like, just done the scene normally, and like, we all know that's what they're referencing or making a joke on, so it's like, but them basically turning to the camera and saying, we're making a joke on Stranger Things and It, because that was relevant last month. I was like, yeah, okay, cool, guys. That's awesome.
We get it. Yeah.
But yeah, so this episode is Garrison wandering around the woods asking people about his approval ratings.
I had a lot of problems with this episode.
Let's talk about the whites.
It's just like people get Rotten Tomato scores now.
Yeah.
I didn't like.
Well,
you can rate people on Rotten Tomatoes.
I kind of wish they played that up a little more, because like they dropped that right after the beginning.
Yeah, they make one reference to it, and that's it.
I thought that could have been funny, them playing up the whole Rotten Tomatoes thing.
I don't even know if that's something that they can say or not, because they had to do it in a parody form, and normally they just do it outright.
Yeah.
I was wondering what happened with that.
Because I think they call it his Splatty Tomato score.
That's what it is.
I wonder if they didn't give them the rights to say it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, I don't think they would need the rights to say it, because, I mean, they show fucking name brand sodas, but their own, like, versions. Like, they'll have the name brand on there, but it's their stylization of it in their world.
They got Best Buy and P.F. Chang's and shit like that.
Yeah, so, I don't know.
Well, like, I don't want to say, like, I don't know how rights works, but I think with, like, even the smallest reference to, like, even if a character has, like, a Pepsi product or something, they still need to get, like, the okay from Pepsi. Like, no matter how small it is. Like, I could be talking out my ass. I'm not an expert on this, but that's kind of what I assume. So maybe Rotten Tomatoes just said, no, we don't want you to use our name in your little program.
Right.
And even then, if that happened, I'd be like, ooh, let's go find something else that we could do, or something like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, basically, you know, Garrison is wandering out in the woods, and people are hunting him down, and all that stuff. And we finally get, like, kind of the like, we keep saying that, like, nothing gets resolved in this season, but Heidi and Cartman's...
But the big one for me was Canada got nuked, and then nothing happens from that.
Yeah, they barely even touch it. Like, the only thing was Ike was mad at Kyle, but that wasn't even, like, a big plot point.
And, like, a lot of people were talking online, like, oh shit, all this happened. And when it happened, it didn't even feel like it, because usually if you have a nuke drop down, you would expect people to get vaporized, turn into skeletons, something like that. But when it happened,
The Canadians were just flying around.
Yeah,
They were like, "Whoa!"
So, to me,
I thought that was funny.
It lost all the seriousness. It was almost like a giant fart happened on Canada.
I feel like it would have been funnier if like everyone in Canada was okay. Like they're so used to these horrible gases by this point that it just had no effect on them.
And I don't want to say that the fact that they said like they nuked Toronto, and Toronto's not that far from the U.S. border, so it's like there'd be some fallout in the U.S. from that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was just one of the big things where it was like, okay, this is a shit gets real moment, but then nothing fucking happened from it.
Well, the whole thing with that is that like after that happens, they basically the minister calls on all Canadians to hunt down the president, and Ike somehow gets a dog and becomes a Mountie.
Well, he was the only one.
I wish they did more. Yeah, I wish they did more with that. I thought it was funny just seeing Mountie Ike on this dog.
And he just hunts down Trump on his own.
Yeah, I feel like that would have had potential for a whole episode. But nope, it's just like a couple minutes.
Yeah. And then they introduced this family of characters, and I get the joke. And this is another thing
where it was like really lazy.
It's pretty subtle.
Yeah, it's nobody cares about the whites. No one asked the whites what they think, and it's like, yeah.
Do you guys get it?
We get it.
I know it's a pretty smart joke.
Yeah. I don't know. This one just like this whole episode, I feel they were like just like, all right, let's just finish it. Let's just get it out. Let's do it.
Yeah. That's why part of me hopes next season is better, since they won't have. They won't be working on a game at the same time.
Yeah.
And there'll be different stuff going on.
Not only that, but it's like, was anything resolved with Caitlyn Jenner last season? Because she wasn't in any of the episodes in this one, like, at all.
Nope.
No. Mm-mm. Yeah, that was all dropped. The member berries thing was dropped.
The whole thing, Principal Victoria was dropped as well. Like nothing happened.
I want to know that. What are they going to do with Principal Victoria now that PC Principal is sticking around?
Right.
I wonder if they're just going to write her off, because I know in the commentary for the season before last season, they were saying how they were writing Officer Barbrady off. Like that was their whole plan for him. It was a way to just write him off of the show. Because they figured, the dumb cop thing has been, so played out. But he still shows up in cop uniform. He was in this episode, and he's in Fractured But Whole, still on the force. Which, I mean, I'm all for. Officer Barbrady is one of my favorite characters, so them not writing him off.
It's like they did make a joke like that on The Simpsons, though, where Chief Wiggum was like, I'm not even supposed to be here. I'm the chief. Like, I shouldn't be patrolling. And I think they kind of made the same joke, too, where it's like Officer Barbrady's, like, almost the chief, and those detectives they have new are the people that go out and do stuff.
Yeah, the way I saw it was they were the real police force, and they just kind of felt sorry for Barbrady since he's so incompetent, so they just send him out in the streets.
Yeah.
And I think Officer Barbrady's way funnier than the detective cops.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know. I don't know if that's a controversial opinion or not. But like one of my favorite episodes is the one where Officer Barbrady is trying to learn how to read.
Yeah,
chicken lover.
And I mean, they even made a Kid Robot figure really recently of him. So
yeah, but like I hadn't heard that commentary before. So I was kind of surprised. I was like, oh, geez, they did this so they could take... I guess it's better than killing him off.
Yeah,
but,
that's true, too.
Then he's back in Fractured But Whole in cop uniform, and then he's back in this, so... What's the story there?
I don't know.
So it's like it seems like they have a lot of setup, and then nothing happens, and that's what irritates me about this series.
Yeah, like there's the whole thing where they're like, oh, we gotta capture Trump or capture Garrison, and they do, and then he just gets out, and they're like, oh, well, he's loose in the world now.
I was really hoping they were going to use this episode as an opportunity to have Garrison get out of being the president.
Yeah.
Because I know that's what they said. They said last season they wanted, since they expected Trump to lose, they thought they could just bring Garrison back to South Park, and he would be the one to settle the feud between the boys and the girls. But now they can't do that. Now he's stuck being president. So
what gets me too is they don't even really need to have someone like that unless it's plot driven. You know, to that, they don't really need to have a president, because in the seasons before this, they just were like, "Fuck it, let's have a duck." And this was still when Obama was president. They just had duck president a couple episodes. And that was the joke behind the "you're getting old" thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they don't even really need that. But they've written themselves in this place where now they have to figure something out with it, because it's
and I would have been fine with that. Like, if they just took this opportunity to, even if it was like a lazy excuse, like they just replaced him with like someone else.
Yeah.
Even then, I would be fine with it, since it would allow them to bring Garrison back to his role at the school.
Yeah, I'm kind of just done with this plot line, to be honest. It's like
yeah,
and I mean, like I was saying, I mean, the one resolution we do get in the end is like Heidi finally comes to her senses and breaks up with Cartman. So I'm really hoping that just like that's the end of it. Like that doesn't continue into next season.
Yeah, but even then, it wasn't done in, like, a super interesting way. It was just kind of her realizing, oh, hey, Cartman, I used to be this good person.
Well, I mean...
And Cartman's been a bad influence.
I kind of liked how through this whole episode, they have, Cartman, Stan, Heidi, I think, and then Craig and Tweaker there, too. And they're basically doing the Stranger Things thing, where they're just walking through the woods, trying to find Garrison. Well... They try to find rocking 80s music, and it's all the worst 80s music. And I did love the one point where they just start playing Pac-Man Fever. But yeah, I did like the whole part where they're basically backtracking through a lot of these locations that they've used in the last season or two, where they're like, hey, I remember this is where, Heidi was going to jump off a bridge, or threw her phone off a bridge to get off social media. And that's where, where her and Cartman's relationship started. Or they go back to the cabin where all the guys destroyed all of Cartman's stuff. Or the part in the woods where Cartman was going to leave Heidi to die. And I liked how she, just gradually came to the realization over the episode. It's like, oh, I need to get out of this.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's okay.
I mean, if it doesn't do anything for you, that's fine, but...
No, I'll agree with you. I'll say it's the best thing ever.
I'm not even saying it's the best thing ever. I'm just like...
Best plot point in the whole show.
It's more of like, I'm glad that it's just resolved, and I hope it stays resolved.
That it's done.
Well, now it's like, are they going to keep her as a character? Is she going to go back to what she used to look like? And then it's like, or is it going to be a Member Berries thing where nothing happens from it? They never mention her again. She's never seen in the background.
I'm honestly hoping it's just dropped and never mentioned again. Personally,
I wouldn't mind if they kept her around as a character, just because there's so few of those actual female characters that do much on the show.
I just feel that if they keep her around, that makes it feel like Cartman's gonna have to spend all of his time trying to get her back, but it's like we've seen that plot already. So
venomously hate her too, though.
Yeah, but it's like
that's true. They could go anywhere with
I'm just kind of done with their dynamic. I mean, this has been 2 seasons of this, and I don't know. I'm done with their relationship.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They don't need to focus on the relationship, but I mean treating her more like a character like Wendy, where she actually speaks and has roles.
What's interesting, though, is they do show that she was a character before all this happened.
Yeah.
Her and Cartman had an egg together in one episode, where they had to take care of eggs.
She was a plot point in Stick of Truth, too.
Really?
Well, it wasn't a huge plot, but there's a part in the game where they're trying to find out the girls recruit you to find out who the lying two-faced bitch is of the group.
Nice.
And then it turns out it was Heidi Turner spreading rumors, but then they forgive her.
That's funny.
Nice.
I forgot about that. But yeah, so
I wouldn't mind if they kept her around as like an actual character. It would be kind of weird having her have so much focus and then just throwing her into background character status again. But I do agree they should not focus on her and Cartman being together anymore.
right. So
But
yeah.
yeah, this episode also had PC Principal and Strong Woman hook up.
And then people vomited. That's
It was
funny.
it was so stupid.
Yeah, I thought that was funny how they were making such a big deal out of that. And I thought it was funny how they took Butters to lunch so they could date, but make it look like they were taking a student out for like a reward.
Butters is so pure. He just sits there and is like, well, should we order? Like, oh, Butters, you're so oblivious to the world.
Yeah. I do hope they follow up on this plot.
Yeah.
Because this is something that wasn't resolved, but I would like to see it continue.
Yeah. That's going into next season, next year. I imagine that, Garrison being on the loose and PC Principal and Strong Woman, I imagine those two plot lines are probably going to keep going.
Maybe this is how they get out of Trump or Garrison being president, is having him out in the woods. Now he doesn't have to be president.
Yeah, he's going to go become a weird cave person. But
Job abandonment.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd be fine with... Now I'm kind of optimistic about what next season's going to bring.
Yeah. But I do hope that PC Principal and Strong Woman thing keeps going, because like I was saying earlier, that this is like the first new thing PC Principal's had to do in a while, so it's like I'm all for giving him new stuff to do.
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing where it goes.
And I also just want to say I love his stupid dumb fucking face that he makes.
Yeah,
with his
I was
fucking
going to
teeth.
say that too.
It's the...
PC Principal is probably the best thing that's happened to South Park in a long time.
Yeah, I would totally agree. He's great. I love him. He's the best.
The PC stands for Pussy Crusher.
So I guess that's our thoughts on this latest season of South Park.
Wasn't it a great season, you guys? We loved every episode.
Great is not the word I'd use, but terrible is not a word I would use either.
I would say it's a step up from last season.
In the sense that it's a little more standalone than last season, yes.
Yeah. Last episode was a disaster, although I don't even really remember much from last season.
I don't.
I remember like a few parts.
And that's the thing. South Park has like so... And I honestly... And again, I think this might have something to do with the way they're so topical with everything now. It makes the episodes less memorable. I honestly couldn't tell you a single episode from the last couple seasons, like off the top of my head.
Yeah, I think that's the problem when you have something serialized like that.
Mm-hmm.
Where it all just runs and bleeds in to each other.
Well, like, I liked it in seasons 18 and 19, since, like, it wasn't full-on serialized, but it was sort of serialized. Like, there was the storyline with the ads and the whole PC thing.
I don't
I
think
feel
the
like
ads
that
thing
didn't go up to anything either.
Yeah,
did
the
it?
ads thing never goes anywhere.
It was only one girl was an ad.
Yeah, and
Right?
Well, yeah, but it at least has a resolution to it.
kinda.
It at least has an ending. That's more than this season, I'll say.
Yeah, this season definitely ends on a cliffhanger.
Yeah. But, like, I wouldn't mind if they went back to that, where it's like season 18, where the episodes stand alone, but elements from earlier episodes bleed in. I thought that was fine. Like, it kind of pointless, but like, Randy being Lord carried over.
No.
Like, little things like that, I think, work really well, where it shows that there is continuity, but it's not trapped in its own continuity.
Right.
I think season 15's ending was probably the best that they've done.
Which one was that?
What one was that one again?
That was the one where it was You're Getting Old.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, that was mid-season.
Was it?
Yeah, that was
Oh,
a mid-season.
yeah,
that's because it was the whole break in between, wasn't it?
Yeah, because
Yeah, and then
yeah, it's back in the day when they would split the seasons up between spring and fall instead of just doing 10 episodes in the fall.
Because that...
I wonder if they should go back to that format, because I feel like doing a handful of episodes and then having a break in between and then doing another handful of episodes, that seems less stressful, and you have a break in between them so you can refresh.
Because this one right here was really like, holy shit, what are they gonna do with this? Like, I feel like this episode was pretty incredible. As
Yeah,
far as
but then
goes.
that also didn't really go anywhere.
Yeah,
It gets resolved in the next episode.
Yeah, because they go back to status quo, and that was like the whole thing. And in such a dumb way possible, too, because it's like, oh, you just get drunk, that's all you do.
That's how you solve
And they had Randy and Sharon break up. I forgot about that.
Yeah, like that was when everything happened. It was like, holy shit, how does this happen? Like what are you gonna do? It really makes you want to see it. But with this ending, it was just like, meh. I don't care what happens next season.
She's too good for him.
I don't know.
Why did she settle?
Did she settle for you, Dustin?
That'd be fine if she lowered her standards for me.
Oh, damn.
But Dustin,
kinda...
she's a mom. You'd have to become a stepdad.
Whoa.
That'd be fine. He's Stan. He's the star of a wacky cartoon show.
All right, fair
Go
enough.
upstairs and play with yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, Stan's always getting into crazy shenanigans. It's not like he'll be around.
There you go. All right.
You know what season finale I didn't care for?
What?
Was it was the Happy Holograms one where with PewDiePie.
Oh yeah.
That was the first season ender where I was like, I really did not think that was very good.
Yeah, that one was pretty awful. So yeah, there you go, guys. Hopefully South Park picks itself back together next season, and they seem to be going in the...
I think it will.
I mean,
hope so.
They have some interesting plot lines that they drop that they hopefully continue on next season, and I think getting away from the serialization they did last season kind of helped a little bit, but you know.
Yeah, they're kind of easing out of it.
Yeah, so
this season was better, but it still had some serialization elements, and I'm fine with that. But I don't know. Maybe they just need time since they're not going to be working on the game.
Or the Book of Mormon.
Maybe it always feels like when they're doing something else, putting their effort into something else, then that South Park season kind of suffers a little bit.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
But I'm looking forward to it. I'm interested in seeing where they go.
Yeah.
They can only go up from here.
Hopefully. I mean, I don't know if it can go further down, so I guess we'll see.
Oh, that's true.
Alright, so, yeah, let us know in the comments what you guys thought about this season, if you had a favorite episode, or what your personal grievances were. And so, yeah, that's our thoughts on the latest season of South Park. I hope you enjoyed that, and hopefully you don't disagree with us completely, because, you know, I want people to like us.
Please don't yell at me. I'm sorry I didn't like your favorite episode of Funny Cartoon Show.
Exactly. Alright, so thanks everybody for listening, and we'll catch you all next week.
Good night, everybody.
Bye!
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Ink and Paint Club podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the channel so you can catch a new episode every week. Also be sure to follow us on our Facebook and Twitter so you can keep up with the show. Links are in the description. We'll see you next week.